Shalom, no pricey Christian gamer. I love RPGs and JRPGs, but sometimes I dip my toes into the multiplayer frames. I love playing with friends if I can. And so I've tried multiple different multiplayer arena shooters, and I've tried out some MOBAs. I tried out League of Legends. Some of my friends play League of Legends, and so I thought I would give it a fair handshake and actually see if it's worth playing. It's very toxic. Honestly, League of Legends is the reason why when I play multiplayer games, I actually almost always will start off by like muting chat. I almost always will mute chat and mute voice lines right off the bat. Is that a good thing? Honestly, no. Honestly, I don't think I should be doing that. But I've done that because of Toxicity. With League of Legends being such of a standard when it comes to MOBAs, it's one that most people know when they think of MOBAs. They think of League of Legends. It does trickle into the idea of everybody thinks that MOBAs need to be Toxicity. And some of it has to do with some of the mechanics in the games, right? Like in League of Legends, there is like a banning phase. And that's so that you could limit, the problems of if a hero is just overpowered, you could ban that hero, you don't have to worry about it. And it helps with kind of give strategy. That's the idea. That's the intent. But there's like embedded like toxicity from that of just through you're saying to a player, hey, you don't get to play the character you like playing. Like stuff like that can already breed some toxicity in the game itself. Some of it is also just because it's a multiplayer game. A lot of multiplayer games, if you're having a high focus team comp game, like any kind of multiplayer kind of shooter game, like you have this pretty common, not just in MOBAs, of like, yeah, it can be high stakes, high intensity, and through that, when you're in a team and you have to rely on someone else, it can get frustrating if they're not doing everything perfect. That being said, I don't think MOBAs are all bad. Like, there's a reason why they're pretty popular and why there are people playing it still. I have stopped playing the two MOBAs I was playing. I tried, again, League of Legends for a good while, and then I stopped playing because of the toxicity. And also, the second part that I was having problems with was the movement. I hate the movement. I'm a console player, and so having to move my character around with a mouse sucks. It just doesn't feel good. And especially in, like, a game that's, like, high tense on, like, movement kind of matters. Like, if you move wrong, you could die, and so that could be pretty frustrating. So I just haven't enjoyed that. That's why I enjoyed stuff like the other MOBA I played a bunch, which was Pokemon Unite. That was on controller. I actually stopped playing that for a different reason. That was more of like a balancing like game mechanic, like for winning the game. If you don't know, there's like a last second kind of like, hey, if you kill the boss monster Rayquaza, you basically won, was kind of thing. So it kind of almost ended into like a coin flip at the very end. Not very fun. I do hope they change it, but they haven't. And like the whole time I've played, so I kind of have slowly stopped playing that game. But recently, with two different MOBAs kind of being out in like early access and open beta, I've been playing some MOBAs. I've been jumping back in, and I'm not gonna lie, dude, MOBAs are fun, man. MOBAs are fun and great. I love so many different elements about MOBAs, and I hate that there's toxicity around MOBAs because it's honestly a fun genre. I wish more people would play it because it is great. And probably the one that encapsulates this the most is Deadlock. A lot of people have been talking about Deadlock. It's a great game. I've had so much fun with friends, and even when I played by myself, I've had a great time. It encapsulates a lot of what I liked. I like the skill expression in this game. MOBAs are known for their high skill expression through just high mechanics and like in the gameplay doing your maneuvers and stuff, and that kind of level of like in-game kind of knowledge of like pushing waves. And I have enjoyed it even here in Deadlock doing this, which I shouldn't. I stopped playing League of Legends partially because of the movement skills, the mechanical skill of moving around with the mouse I did not like. And here on Steam, I am, for the first time again as a console player, I'm trying to learn a shooter game on mouse and keyboard for the first time. I'm still having a great time even with that like lack of mechanical skill. You also have like the high complexity that can be very fulfilling for people to figure out through the builds, like through the items and all that. Like I never really enjoyed it in League of Legends. I mean, through how much time I learned, I never learned really in depth the different builds. I just had to be like, all right, well, let me find the build, let me search for it and do it. Dude, in Deadlock, you could browse other people's builds easily to find what they're doing and go off of that. And a lot of people have put in a lot of work to kind of explain of like, hey, these are items you want to buy if you don't know, if you're lost, because it can be high complexity, which should be like all overwhelming to a lot of players. Like people who are trying out for the first time, it's a lot to take in. And so sometimes just browsing and picking someone's build and going off of that is great. It's so nice. And then later you can build your own. Deadlock really seems to be pushing in a way to where the items can allow for more flexibility for a variety of different builds. If you want to try a couple different things with a character, you can really change them based on the build. Which gets into my next point, which I love MOBAs in general for doing that. I mean, League is great for this, and I think a lot of MOBAs just excel in this so much. MOBAs are known for having a wide roster of just different kind of characters. Unique characters that play very different from each other. Again, variety is great in this situation of, hey, you should be able to find the character that you like. That's kind of self-expression character. I like that. I mean, as somebody who loves RPGs, mostly for the creative part of creating my own character, having a roster to where I can find a character that like expresses me is great. You got Wraith, which is like, hey, I got my tummy gun, eh? And I'll throw some cards at you, eh? And then you got just a goo monster. Which honestly kind of reminds me, I love the theme of this game. This kind of like mafia area, kind of like style. I do kind of like the aesthetic. I think they hit on the theme of this game so far, just aesthetically, like really nice. I think it feels pretty good. Like as a MOBA, while we're used to like bushes and stuff like that of hiding in areas, you have like buildings you be on top of for like height, which is kind of crazy. And like I've just enjoyed the experience of just the gameplay. It's not like full sweat. So there's like sweaty mechanic size, which is really fulfilling for those who want that. But there's also weird goofiness. Like Vicious is such a funny character. It's such a goo dude who can like turn into a ball as his ult and just roll around. So funny. I will say, even though this is in early access, it's lacking some things that are probably going to be expected once it fully comes out, and that's like monetization. That is like my one fear for this game. Well, like toxicity is a massive part, you know, MOBAs have toxicity. What do they do to try to help limit toxicity is going to be interesting if they do anything. Hopefully they do something, because while I played this game, there wasn't really toxicity. Dang it. There's been literally, of the over 20 hours I put in this game, like two moments of toxicity. One was really bad. It was bad. The rest though, like for the most part, the environment of the game has been pretty nice. And I think that's important. I think while I want to say like I hope the creators of the game do something to try to help with the game, it does take part of it on us, right? The players. It does help us to make a stance of like, this is the environment. One of the games that was toxic, the player literally afterwards was like, I guess it doesn't feel like a MOBA unless there's toxicity. It's like, no, that's very much incorrect. Like, I think with a new game, you have the new moment to make a creative space that like, it doesn't have to be toxic, right? I don't think it has to be that way. So it takes on some of the people who are creating the game to like implement features that kind of help limit toxicity. But as players, it also takes us of like, hey, if someone is going toxic, like we need to find ways to be able to like, hey, communicate with them to like help calm down and be like, hey, it's okay, and try to create this space, especially us as Christians. Like we have this opportunity to bring peace in this situation. Now, I do understand that for a lot of us, we're playing this game because like we're trying to relax after like work. We're already exhausted, so we're not always in the great position to be able to help out in this situation. That's okay. I think that's fine. What I would say I would push back on, and this is also mostly to myself, is I don't think we should always just right off the bat cut off communications, like mute everybody. I don't think that should be happening every single situation right off the bat. I mean, one, it limits some of the fun of the game, which is like team cooperation and coming together and working as a team and playing, because it's a team. That's some of the fun parts of a MOBA, is working as together to a team to win. It's fun. But if you're not in a great spot to possibly take negativity, I don't think it's the end of the world to like mute everybody ever so often. But I would push back and be like, hey, maybe sometimes be okay with it, and maybe sometimes be, you know, willing to be able to help out if someone's in that position. They're toxic, they're raging, in a way to actually help bring peace in that moment. Bible greatly suggests with a calm, soft voice is the best way to deal with it, but I'm gonna let the Holy Spirit help you with that, okay?
I died, but 7 came clutch!
Yeah, I know.
Let's go!
MOBAs in general, I think they're a great genre, a fun genre. I think more people should play them, but I do understand the reality that a lot of these MOBAs are like embedded with a lot of toxicity, and so it's not the funnest thing for a lot of people to play. Deadlock seems like it's in a position to where it could be pretty good. It could be very fun for a lot of people to play. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm still keeping an eye on it. It's going to be interesting to see when it actually fully comes out, what it does for like monetization, what it does for progression, because right now there's not like a rank or nothing. So we're just playing it just to have fun. Seeing these things implemented could really make or break a game, right? They're major parts of a game, and especially a life service game. And so I'm hopeful for Deadlock. I think it's worth your time. If you want to try it out, definitely go try it out. It's making me hopeful for MOBAs, man. MOBAs don't have to be bad, right? Right, guys? We can play MOBAs, right? Thank you to my Patreon so much. I greatly appreciate all the support you guys show me. It does truly help the channel so much. It helps my wife and I. But hey, I'll see you guys later. Jesus loves you. Shalom.
Man, doesn't look like a bad ult now, does it, you silly goose?
I'm dying.
It wasn't. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm over here like, yeah, well, I think I'm fine. You're like, I'm literally. I'm dying.
literally almost dead.
I'm dying. I'm over here like, yeah, well, I think I'm fine. You're like, I'm literally.
I'm literally almost dead.
I'm dead. I'm dead.